So a while back, I made one of my more popular videos on the Tinderbox, and in particular, we looked at the 18th century design of household tinderbox and a modern variation on the theme. In this video, we're looking at making a relatively easy to make version, suitable for camping, suitable for backpacking, closely based on the 18th century version, and I'm going to show you what I've done. Now, this particular tinderbox has been made from a shoeshine polish tin, which is now empty, of shoeshine polish, and which I've converted into an 18th century style tinderbox. I particularly like this. It's a cherry blossom blend, and I like this one because it doesn't have the swizzle thing. It's just press over here where you have that lump, and it just pops the end, so that comes off rather nicely. Now, at the heart of any tinderbox is, of course, a fire steel. I got this one, which I like very much because it's sort of like a dragon, so it's kind of, I got a dragon starting my fires. This is the 50 millimeter or 2-inch size, and for a tin of this size to make your tinderbox, I think this would be ideal. This is incredibly lightweight, so it's really a very practical one. Now we have a few accessories inside. Here we have a wick match. Now this is a natural fiber jute, I think, which has been soaked in beeswax, so you've got a waxed natural fiber in a small brass tube, and you can pull that in and out, which allows you to control the flame. We'll show you how that's used in a bit. We've got here some sulfur matches. Incidentally, the video that I made on the tinderbox previously, as well as the video on making char cloth and brimstone matches, the sulfur matches, will be connected in a link, so you'll be able to go into the description. You'll find a link to those videos if you want more details on them. And these are sulfur matches you have made from wooden splints, in this case little wooden stir sticks. They've been cut with scissors to have these 2 points, and both ends have been dipped in molten sulfur. More of that in the other video, but you'll see how that works in a moment. We have a few bits of candle, flint, of course, and an inner lid. Now the inner lid in this case was made from an evaporated milk tin lid, which I cut off using a bit of silver solder and a nail. I've given it this handle. We had a little brass piece here, which I've soldered on, so this acts as a bit of a candle holder. And obviously, by putting something small on there, I don't need very large candles. I could have made this a little smaller, used it with birthday candles, but you must remember that in the 18th century and earlier, and even a little bit after, while tinderboxes were still in use, bearing in mind that the friction match was not invented until 1825, tinderboxes were in use up until then, and for at least another decade or two after, because, of course, although they became very popular, it took a little while for the spread of friction matches to become readily available everywhere. And in fact, tinderboxes were used even into the end of the 19th century. This is my favorite way of starting a fire on a camping trip, for example. And in the base, we have a layer of, I'll just pour them out, we have a whole bunch of pieces of char cloth, which creates the base. And the inner lid will fit over that, and part of the purpose of the inner lid is actually to snuff out the char cloth to prevent it from being exhausted. So we don't need it for very long because we have, of course, the sulfur matches. Now, you can use a striker going onto the flint which is one way of doing it. But if you're trying to throw sparks down into a container like this, it is better to hold the striker in your offhand and with your main hand strike downwards to throw sparks in a downward direction. And as soon as one catches on this char cloth, and there we go, and then we use the sulfur match. Sometimes it takes a few moments to light, but once that goes, you just put the inner lid, which extinguishes the char cloth, and you use that to light your candle. Once you've lit your candle, you now have a bit of flame. And as was mentioned in the earlier video, this was quite traditional to use the sulfur match. Of course, if you're in the bush and you're using a dried grass, some sort of bird's nest to light your fire, that's fine, but indoors it creates a lot of smoke. And of course, as I mentioned previously in the earlier videos, sulfur matches have been around for at least 1500 years, so they were in fairly common use, and they are easy to make, as you'll see from the video attached if you watch that. This is then used to light the wick match, and once I've lit the wick match, I can take pardon me, I can take the fire to wherever it needs to be, light whatever I have to light. To extinguish the wick match, I simply draw the wick in, and then we push it back out again a little bit. And it's really that simple to use. Obviously, if you're using this on a camping trip in the field, you'll need to be a little bit mindful of breeze and wind, so you want a somewhat sheltered spot. But as you can see, what I've got here, the sulfur matches, I've got about, I think about 2 dozen of them, so, and each of them are good for 2 lights. The candles will burn for several minutes, and I have a couple of small ones in there. Everything fits very nicely and very compactly here. I've got a little bit of a wax paper in this instance, just for my sulfur matches or brimstone matches, just to keep them all tidy so they don't go everywhere. And I just wrap them up again. And of course I have a little tie. I think that came with a loaf of bread to help seal the loaf of bread, but that keeps everything nice and tidy in that regards. Our flint obviously fits inside here, as do our couple of candles. Sometimes you need to rearrange things a little bit to make them all fit nice and tidy. And then, of course, I can put the lid back on. And that's it. This is very, very light, as I say. Hardly weighs a thing, and will easily fit into any pocket or pouch in your equipment without any difficulty at all. If you like the idea of going back in time and using the kind of traditional fire lighting that was in use for over a millennia, right up until modern fire making by friction matches and lighters and so forth came into being, this is the way to go. And it's simple, it's inexpensive to make, and it's kind of a fun project. I will say, you may have noticed that it is quite different from using a ferro rod, which has a much bigger spark, but then the ferro rod is very much a 20th century invention, and in the 18th century and earlier, they didn't have that. It was traditional flint and steel, and this is basically just a high carbon steel, and it works extremely well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and found it interesting, and if you're interested in having a go at making one of these, there's a link in the description showing my original Tinderbox video, how to make brimstone matches, as well as the char cloth. And I'm also going to put a link in the description to my video on how to fuse mild steel and brass using silver solder, because that inner lid, if you wanted to make one like I've been there, that's useful to have. If you are going to have a go at this, by all means, let me know in the comments how it goes. It'd be interesting. And if you're having any problems, feel free to get in touch. I'll be happy to help. Anyway, if you haven't already, please click like. Please consider sharing this video and consider joining the channel. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you found it useful. Have a good one. Incidentally, the paint was removed from the shoe shine polish tin using 60 grit sandpaper. Little elbow grease, and it came up a treat.